The world is finally quiet. The frantic, exhausting energy of the day has dissolved into the ether, and the blue shadows of evening have settled over the earth like a heavy, velvet blanket. Take a moment to listen. Can you hear it? It's the sound of 1,000 demands finally falling silent. While the day belongs to the world, to your boss, your responsibilities, the expectations of society, and the constant friction of survival, the night belongs exclusively to you. It is the only time in our 24-hour cycle when the soul finally has enough room to expand, to breathe, and to simply exist without being productive. But why is it that we often feel a sense of unease when the sun disappears? Why do we find ourselves filling these sacred late hours with the artificial blue light of our phones, scrolling through the lives of strangers just to avoid the silence of our own rooms? We have become a culture that fears the dark, not because of what is lurking outside, but because of what might emerge from within. Tonight, we aren't going to run. We aren't going to hide behind screens or distractions. We are going to sit with the shadows. We are going to explore the unique, ancient wisdom that only the night can offer, a clarity that can only emerge when the blinding distractions of the sun are stripped away. Think about the roles you played today. Perhaps you were a focused employee, an exhausted parent, a polite stranger, or a helpful friend. Throughout the daylight hours, we are performers on a stage, constantly adjusting our masks to fit the scene. We speak in professional tones, we hide our frustrations, and we project a version of ourselves that the world finds acceptable. But as the clock strikes midnight, those masks begin to feel heavy. They begin to peel away, one by one. In the absolute solitude of a quiet room, you are no longer your job title. You are no longer your social media profile. You are simply a human being, stripped of all external labels. There is a profound, almost startling honesty in the night. It is the sanctuary where we can finally ask ourselves the questions we were too busy or too afraid to hear at noon. Am I happy? What am I truly running toward? Is this life mine, or am I living it for someone else? The night does not judge your answers. It doesn't demand a resolution by the next meeting. It simply provides the space for you to be honest with yourself. Embracing this midnight solitude is not an act of loneliness. It is an act of reclamation. It is the process of becoming reacquainted with your own essence before the world tries to redefine you again tomorrow morning. There is a reason why humans have stared at the stars for thousands of years. Have you ever looked up at a clear night sky, far away from the city lights, and felt a sudden, sharp realization of your own insignificance? In our daily lives, our problems feel like massive, unscalable mountains. A missed deadline, a difficult conversation, or a financial worry can feel like the end of the world. But the night puts these mountains back into their proper place as tiny grains of sand in a vast, indifferent cosmos. The stars you see tonight have lived for billions of years. They have watched empires rise and fall, and they will be there long after our current worries have been forgotten by time. There is a psychological release in this insignificance. If we are this small, then perhaps our failures aren't as catastrophic as we think. Perhaps we are allowed to make mistakes. Perhaps we are allowed to just be. The night teaches us the wisdom of perspective. It reminds us that our personal story, with all its triumphs and heartbreaks, is part of a much larger, ancient, and beautiful tapestry. In the shadows of the stars, we find the courage to let go of the things that don't truly matter, and we find the strength to focus on the few things that do. Poets, dreamers, and philosophers have always preferred the moon to the sun. There is a specific kind of creative energy that only exists between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. In the stillness of the late hours, the logical, critical mind, the part of you that tells you your ideas are foolish or impractical, finally relaxes its grip. As that guard falls asleep, the creative spirit begins to stir. The night is a fertile ground for the shy ideas, the ones that are too fragile for the harsh, judgmental light of day. When the external world stops screaming for your attention, your internal world begins to bloom. This is why some of the greatest works of art and the deepest personal realizations happen when the rest of the world is dreaming. Instead of fighting your wakefulness, what if you leaned into it? What if you viewed these extra hours of darkness not as a burden of insomnia, but as a gift of extra life? What if you used these shadows to dream without limits, to write without editing, or to simply wonder about the mysteries of your own heart? The night is not a void to be filled with noise. It is a blank, dark canvas waiting for the light of your deepest reflections. The night is reaching its end, As the first hint of blue light begins to touch the far-off horizon, we realize that the darkness has done its necessary work. It has served as a filter, cleaning the slate of our minds. It has given us the rare chance to process our grief, to heal our wounds in private, and to find a new center of gravity. The wisdom of the night is not actually about the darkness itself. It is about the discovery of the light we carry within ourselves when the outside world goes dim. You have sat with the silence, and you have survived the shadows. Now, as you prepare to step back into the world of noise and sunlight, try to carry a piece of this midnight clarity with you. You don't have to leave the peace behind just because the sun has risen. Carry the quietness of the stars in your heart and the honesty of the shadows in your voice. Remember that you have a sanctuary inside you that you can return to whenever the world becomes too loud. Thank you for sharing these quiet, midnight reflections with me. If you found a moment of solace in these words, I invite you to stay with us on this journey. Until next time, sleep well, stay calm, and live deeply.